Guys, in today's video, do you remember the front plate we have made for this 135 ampere hour battery here from Seplos? And we did a bit of modification on it to fit the JK BMS into it and replace the existing Seplos BMS. And 3D printed this part to accommodate the new communication PCB of the JK BMS. And also installed this 2-inch display instead of the larger one. And here on the back side is the JK BMS. And in today's video, we want to finalize this battery and see if it works, because I need another JK BMS, another version 14 BMS to be precise, for our overall testing of the global power batteries with all the JK BMSs in parallel. I'm pre-charging these batteries already from the pull fence system. Guys, welcome back to the off-grid garage here in sunny. No, it's not actually. It's just cloudy at the moment today. Bit of rain this morning, but we still have 72 amps outside, 3.3 kilowatt, 1000 from the tilt system. In these cloudy conditions, that's amazing. Thank you so much for all your comments under the last video where I talked about the Home Assistant integration BatMon, which connects via Bluetooth to all your BMSs, reads all the data and makes them available through Home Assistant. And a special thanks goes to these people who have shared their settings for this integration. So I'm testing them out at the moment here, and it seems one of these constellations of these many combinations of settings seems to work for me. Look at all these dots and sprinkles of data I have received, and since I've changed the settings, there seems to be very constant without any issues. So I may have found the correct settings now. I really tried a lot of combinations myself before, but maybe not exactly this combination which works. I'm still using the internal Bluetooth in the NUC computer, but some of the settings may not have been as optimal as I need them for my environment here, with all this metal around it and signals bouncing back and forward. So again, thank you very much for sharing your experience and also sharing your settings for this BatMon integration. I'll do some more testing, and I'll probably make another video after a couple of weeks and let you know how this all goes. So this is how far we are. We have mounted everything. We are actually ready to cable the BMS back to the battery. This was the MIDI fuse they have used inside this battery. It's a 200 amp. Not sure if you can read that there. 58 volts DC. So this was already installed in the Seplos battery, and it's mounted here on this block. And I'm not sure if I should use this one again. It would be the easiest and quickest way. Piece of bus bar down here, positive cable from here to the battery, connect this one to the battery negative, this one to our negative terminal over here, shorten these cables a bit, and we are basically done. But I'm not sure about this fuse actually here. I would really like to use a circuit breaker for this battery so I can quickly mechanically isolate it from the rest of the batteries. This is a DC 250 volt circuit breaker with 125 amps. And I thought if I do a cutout here in this panel and mount a circuit breaker like this, because there is enough space up here for this breaker, but this bracket here carrying the fuse is a bit larger than the actual cutout, so I would have to remove this one. It is welded to the front panel. It is not ideal, right? It is not an ideal position here. So I thought, how about if I mount the breaker over here somewhere? There's heaps of space on this side as well. However, that's a lot more work, of course. Using the fuse now is just installing it, cabling it, and we are done. The fuse itself would totally satisfy the safety needs of this battery, but I actually like the breakers better, not because you can reset them. I'm not expecting that the fuse will blow ever. I just like to have a mechanical disconnection switch in the battery itself. Even we have one on the outside as well, but I'm a big fan of these circuit breakers here in these batteries. So I just 3D printed this little frame here, which goes hopefully inside this hole. And then we can mount the circuit breaker Question is which way around. I really don't know. This frame is just to cover up some imperfections in my metal work. Guys, I'm really not a metal workshop here. I've got only a battery drill and a jigsaw. That's pretty much it. Everything else needs to be covered by the 3D printed frame. Circuit breaker mounted. It just needs some encouragement to stay in place. We have to take the breaker out anyway again because we need to get access to the terminals. The screws are on the underside now. Yeah, exactly. That works very well. Doesn't look too bad with the two screws, right? I have also checked with the height here and the frame situation and ensured the circuit breaker does actually fit. Yeah, there's plenty of space in the back. Such a nice case, this Mason box from Seplos. So, and because this is a 100 amp BMS and 135 ampere hour battery, I wanted to go with 16mm cables, 2 of them in parallel. This is for all the flexible connections between the battery and the BMS and also the terminals. And I was going to use these bootlaces here for the cable, but I'm not able to get 2 in these terminals of the breaker. But once they are crimped, they are not round anymore. And we should be able to get 2 of them in here. With this kind of terminal, we don't necessarily need bootlaces, but I'm still a big fan of them. They keep all the strands together, and if you need to undo the cable, it's all clean and you can get them into the terminal again without any issues. I may try that first, and if this doesn't work, we go without. So 2 cables just with the bootlaces without the plastic. They actually fit nicely into these terminals. Alright, I'll go with this solution. I like it. Okay, I've got the positive link ready from the terminal through the circuit breaker to the positive of the battery. They're only short links. And unfortunately, I had to crimp 2 cables into one ring lug here. This is a 35 by 6mm to connect to the battery terminal. I'm usually not a friend of that. As you have seen, I have used 2 separate ring lugs here and put them back to back. But I'm really running out of 16mm ring lugs here, and I've got just enough, so this one and the main positive will be a double crimp. Then because these are 2 16mm cables and this is a 35mm ring lug, there is some kind of space inside, so I used a 25mm die in the hydraulic crimper. You can see the copper coming out of the window here, and it's bombenfest. So this will be positive connection, and now we are making the negative. I had totally forgotten how long this takes to make these cables with all the crimping and ring lugs and bootlaces and everything. Wow. So I've just tightened the terminal nut here, and this is all very, very solid and bombenfest. It doesn't look too bad, right? So, and we also have to get rid of this 6 meter long cable here. Now I think it's only 3 meters long or so, but it still is far too long for our BMS purposes. And the 2-inch display comes with this really long cable and this round plug. And this plugs into this male counterpart, which plugs into this connector. And then this end finally plugs into the BMS. So I want to connect this short cable directly to the display. We only need to go from here to over there. Yeah. So I will cut this one off here, because all these cables here do match. So white goes to white, yellow to yellow, black, red and green and brown. And I hope we've got the same colors in this cable here as well. Otherwise we have a problem now. Yes, we have. Nice. All right. So this can go, and we just get rid of this connector. And now we have to solder all these colors together. And then we've got a direct connection from the display to the BMS. Short link. We don't need all this crap. And I also can use some of these very tiny heat shrinks here, which comes in this box here, which I have never used before because I'm usually not soldering these thin cables. But now they come in handy. Look at these tiny cables, huh? Oh, one heat shrink came off of the green one. It's down there. Oh. Come on, Miss Piggy, do your job. Sorry, I didn't have any black heat shrink for this anymore. It's blue. Yeah, this is always the problem with these boxes here. They advertise it with like 400 pieces of heat shrink, but then you've got like 100 already of these tiny ones here, which you rarely use. Well, I guess it depends what you're doing. But these tiny ones are certainly not the ones I'm using the most. And I'll just take a black marker and mark the insulation as well as the ring lug. So I've got the exact position of the ring lug to the cable, and I don't need to twist it anymore afterwards and put any force on the cable. Because this one goes upside down, and then the next one goes the other way around. That'll do. So much easier if you put the hydraulic crimper into the vise. Beautiful double crimp. Alright, I think we are officially done with the front panel. I had to, this cable what I made before was far too short from the circuit breaker to the main positive. For some reason, look at this, it was like 30-40 millimeters too short. I don't know what I did there, but yeah, the second one fits. So the only other thing we need to do now is to make a decision if we keep using these PCBs here across the cells and use the connectors Seplos has provided. These PCBs come with this JST connector obviously and connect to the Seplos BMS. So we would need to cut all these cables here and solder the JK cables onto it. Obviously in the right order, which is not a problem, but I don't know about the temperature sensors. We've got 4 temperature sensors here, and also the JK has 4 temperature sensors. We probably need to measure the resistance of these temperature sensors and see if they are the same. Otherwise the JK may play up or something, and it wouldn't show the correct temperature then. Okay, let's measure the Seplos temperature sensors. Okay, we have here 12.3 kilo ohms. Just measuring the second one as well. There you go, 12.6. And now we measure the JK balance cable and we have 12.8. So I think we are good to go and solder these cables onto these cables. Then we can keep the whole setup here with the connection to the bus bars and everything. I have to make another change here and clean this one up a bit. We still have the connectors here to the active balancer, which we have used at the beginning. Because this was the first Seplos box we built here, you know, the 135 ampere hour with a 100 amp Seplos BMS. And the Seplos BMS was not able to top balance this battery here at all. We left it the whole night running and it was still not balanced the next morning, and then put the active balancer on and it was balanced within less than an hour. Completely top balanced. So that was amazing. But with the JK BMS we don't need these anymore, so we can take them off completely. It's already after sunset now, so I think we will do this after dinner and then complete the whole battery here tonight. I am back, guys. I'm back from dinner. We also had a glass of wine. So if I'm a bit... Okay, before we cut the cables here and solder the JK balance cables onto these ones here, I want to have a look at the pin out of these PCBs. So we quickly go into the Seplos 48 volt 150 amp BMS manual, and I think we have to scroll down to page 28 from memory. Here it is. So you can see both connectors here. The black one, yeah, the black connector for wiring harness A and the white connector here for PCB B. See, we always connect to the positive terminals of these cells, but here with cell number 9 we connect to the negative of this cell number 9, which is the same contact as the positive of number 8. So this is a negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see there A8 goes to this side, then there's the link to the other row, and there is B8. See, and they are connected with a link. So these two cables are connected to the same battery positive of number 8. And I've asked JK recently if this is still necessary to do so, and they said no, it's not. So what we have done in the global power battery when we replaced the PACE BMS, and there was no second cable for this cell number 8, but the wiring of the JK BMS has actually the second cable still connected. But it is not necessary. JK has confirmed it is not necessary to use this cable. You can, if it's there, you can use it, but it's not necessary. So one cable, cell number 8 positive is enough. But here we will just go with it because the cables are still connected to the PCBs and I don't want to take them off. I also realized what a shitty work I have done back in the day. Look at this, there are screws missing to hold the PCB down. There's a black one, there's a silver one. What is going on here, Andy? Jeez. That also gives me the chance to use more of these tiny heat shrink here, which I've never used before. It's either the black one or the yellow one. I am also not going to shorten these balance cables here. I'll leave them as long as they are and just coil them up with a bit of Velcro around it. Oh, one of the most frequently asked questions. Can you shorten balance cables? Do they all have to have the same length? Yes, you can shorten them. No, they don't have to be the same length. This is the best example here. Look at the Seplos cables. This one is short. This one is longer, and you also have the PCB in between where the furthest battery cell has the longest balance cables, and this one, the closest battery, has the shortest balance cable. We are measuring voltage here with the balance cable, you know? It doesn't matter if it's 1 meter, 10 meter or 100 meters long, it's the same voltage. And no, the JK BMS does not measure the voltage at the same time as it balances. Okay, let's make some space here for our mega soldering party. We've got these 4 temperature sensors. Gone. Okay, I've got the first 2 connectors done. I developed a bit of a process now how this all works together, but it's pretty straightforward actually. Here we go, these are the temperature sensors and the rest are the balance cables from 0 to 8. So this all works. Number 1 and 2 are now soldered to connector A. But it takes a long time. So the next step would be to put the heat shrink over the solder area and heat shrink this all up. But before we do that, I want to connect everything and measure if we are right in the order of the balance cables. The risk is too high after 1 glass of wine that I made a mistake. So let's plug in B. Oh, I should not do that because all the areas we are soldered are not isolated. So if they touch, they make a short between the cells, whatever they are connected to. So I have to put the heat shrink over this location at least to make sure there's no short. Ooh, I just plugged it in and realized, hang on, what happens if 2 of these cables are touching? That would be good night, Andy. Where is it? Did I miss one? Oh no, it's all the way up here. All right, then the last one. So we've got them all isolated now. That's much better. Imagine 2 would have touched. All right, and so now we need to measure all these balance cables to make sure they are in the right order. We need to be very precise with that. Number 1. This is our number 1. and we will go from here. So first cable is our main battery negative. Okay, first cable, 3.2 volt, 6.4, 9.6, 12.8. Perfect. Here's my number 2. This is my number 2. I'm trying to stay connected to the main negative of the battery so we can see the increase in voltage of each cable. 16, 19, 22, 25. Yay!
Okay, so then 28.
Come on, the last one. Ah, you know what? The last one is not connected to the battery. Hang on. Hang on. Just wait. And the last one will be 52, 51.5. Cool. So next step would be to heat shrink all these connections here, that this is all safe and connected. And then we can mount the front panel, connect it to the main positive, negative, plug in all the balance cables, turn it on, and hope for the best. Velcro. I'll link it down below. So, prepared all the, come on camera, prepared the balance cables. Okay guys, this is it. This is the big moment when everything comes together. All the hard work pays off, and this was a lot of work. A lot of work. Unbelievable. How many hours? Okay, let's take these ones off again for the moment and mount the front panel first. I must admit, I'm really a bit excited to connect this battery now. 4 Newton meters. Okay, torque this one, torque the main positive. Just one last check. Everything is fine. Enough space for the cables. Look at this beautiful connection from the negative to the battery. What a nice bow, huh? There's a nice bend from the circuit breaker to the positive. Space for the cables here and here. What a beautiful battery. Well done, Seplos. These are the last 2 screws holding the front panel and the case together. All holes are lining up around the case. And we are done, officially done. Wow. It turns on. Amazing. I like this display. It's cool. I don't like these terminals actually. They are a bit too touchy here. You can really touch everything. Oh, we haven't tried the circuit breaker yet. That is so cool. Guys, I had to open the lid again because I want to scan one of the barcodes of these cells. I don't think we have done this when the battery arrived 1.5 years ago. So I'm not 100% sure what kind of cells these are actually, because EVE doesn't or didn't make any LF135. So I'm really trying to scan. It doesn't. I need to take a photo and put it in manually. It does not scan this shit QR code here of this cell. Yes, now I remember again. They are high G. They are not EVE. High G 135. November 19. Whoa, they're almost 5 years old. High G. That was it. So this is the Seplos-JK collaboration project. JK BMS upgrade May 24. And we have high G 135 ampere hours from 9th of November 2019 in this box. Okay, let's have a very last and quick look at the app. Okay, which one? Oh, the first one, PB1A. It's a 1 amp active balancer. Exactly. And here we are. Cell voltages, 3.2 volts. Yep, all of them. Perfect. Got a deviation of 5 millivolt there. Settings. I haven't programmed the BMS yet. Yeah, this still shows 280 ampere hours, so this all needs to be set up. Ah, the settings actually are set up here. 135 ampere hours. Okay. Okay, someone was asking what number 5 is here, the Seplos BMS CAN protocol, and if JK will be compatible with Seplos at some stage. Well, at the moment it's grayed out, but it is in the list, so maybe they have experimented with that and it didn't quite work, so they took it out again. I have to ask them what the deal is with that. That would be cool actually if we can just connect the JK BMS with the Seplos BMS or with the Pace BMS, and we don't have to do these upgrades anymore with these batteries and BMSs. Because this was a lot of work. A lot of work. Man, what a project, huh? What a project. It started a couple of weeks ago when we did the front panel first, which was probably one of the easier parts. Nah, I can't really say that. It was hard as well. To make all these 3D prints and designs and everything, came up with all these ideas. Single click turns on the display. I think the display actually stays on when we charge or discharge the battery. We will test this in the next video when we test all the other JK BMSs together in parallel. I want to see how the communication works between the different BMSs. Yeah, now it turns off again. That is so cool that we have a circuit breaker now in the Seplos-JK box here. And it's really, that is solid. That is one, yeah, I'm pushing the cart. Alright my friends, I guess so far this video from the last couple of days here building this battery box, replacing the BMS actually. It was just a BMS replacement. And it took so long because nothing would fit. But now we've got the JK 100 amp BMS in here with a 1 amp active balancer. So this should take care of all the balancing of all these high G 135 ampere hour cells. And we can put this battery here in production now as well. Charging from the non-existing sun, but it'll come back. It's only 3 or 4 more weeks or so, and then we have the shortest day here, and from there on it goes up again every single day, minute by minute by minute. But actually it's not too bad this year because of the tilt system, it helps a lot, but I haven't had any low voltage disconnects or something, low state of charge disconnects, nothing. So it's all working fine this year. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and even more thank you for all your great support here, for these beautiful people donating to the channel, becoming a member or buying me a coffee. I don't drink coffee. All your comments and likes and shares are very much appreciated. As you know, it makes these videos possible. And until the next video guys, when we do something completely different, absolutely different. Until then guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye. I like it. It turned out pretty good. Geez, it is 11 PM. That means I was here in the garage for 12 hours. Of course, some breaks in between for dinner and lunch and everything, but that was 12 hours ago when I started working on this battery here. Holy crap.